I like this. Alright, we're back with Zareth San, the Trickster. 5-mana 4/4 flash. The second chunk of text doesn't matter, but the third chunk is whenever this deals combat damage to a player, you take a permanent from that graveyard and put it into play on your side. It's not tapped, so you can probably, you know, without doing anything about your opponent's graveyard yourself, expect a creature that you killed or just a fetch land, which is okay to me. Some decks mill themselves to a degree. Most kind of don't. I don't really like mill cards in any sense. This has not changed. I was looking at my list from 3 years ago, and I don't think there was any mill card in that one, and I still agree with my past self from 3.5 years ago that I would not play any mill stuff today. Milling your opponent can benefit them to a degree, and also you don't just get something crazy because you did that. And if all you did with your card was mill your opponent, it didn't like draw or something like what's the Psychic Scream? Whatever it's called. It's it's a 1 mana, your opponent mills 2, and you draw 1 card. Normally you target yourself with that in like, well, you used to when it saw play in Legacy and Modern and whatnot. I can't remember the name of the card. Blue-Red Delver, I think, liked it in Legacy. But milling is just random, right? You're not gonna hit something that matters with this, if this was going to matter in a given game. This is definitely vastly more impactful than Y'shtola. You don't have white, so no crazy Swords, Plowshares nonsense, but still, this feels very... like your opponent does not want you to touch them with this card. The part with the mana investment, you just can't do it because it doesn't have the same text as Yuriko. It is not from the command zone. If they went back and made it again, maybe they would do that, but I think Yuriko was specifically a commander, so like this card was not from a commander set or anything, as far as I'm aware. So it doesn't have that, but still fine to me. Just blue-black control. There have been colossal improvements to the blue-black strategy in the past 3.5 years, but there's still, you know, the mainstay ideas. Psychic Frog is always very satisfying. We've seen this card completely solo people. It's just disgusting. Scarab God is questionable, I'd say. Honestly, anything that cost 5 exactly might be a little questionable, because this ideally is the thing you do on turn 5. It would be a little weird to cast a sorcery speed 5-drop instead of leaving up a flashing one for your opponent's end step, and you have a bunch of permission in the meantime. Discard spells don't play too nice with counter spells, and I much prefer the counter spell side of things over the discard spell side of things. You can easily do both. I'm sure plenty of people do both. Discarding your opponent's best card to reanimate 10 years later is some kind of idea, but let's be real, most of the time you cast Thoughtseize early, which is where it's at its best. You're not going to Thoughtseize your opponent's Emrakul, you're going to Thoughtseize Llanowar Elves. So you're not exactly taking the crazy thing that, you know, just for this. That seems counterintuitive to actually winning the game. So I wouldn't advise that. But you can... it's not like I'm saying Thoughtseize is a bad card in any stretch or whatever, but I just not going to go down that route. Again, just a bit awkward with counterspells. Commandeer is a way to sort of protect this if I go to cast it on 5 mana, and I don't have any mana to leave up to defend it. There is, like, cheat death effects you could probably run. I am running, Grief? So, Grief, cheat death. Obviously a really scary thing to do on turn 1. You just 3 for 2 yourself, effectively, to take your opponent's 2 best cards. And yeah, that's it. So let's see what this looks like all this time later. One of my favorite commanders when I had played it at the time. And the format has gone a long way since then. Not just the blue-black stuff, but still excited to see what we can do with this. I suppose I could run this Surveil land. Yeah, it's fine. Just put it in. I'm gonna just not play the fetch lane right now. That is just straight up opt. That's weird. Grief is nice. I currently am not convinced I need the sweeper. Could be wrong. So I can cast Narset and not necessarily lose immediately if it doesn't work. I could also just Grief first and get rid of one of these removal spells that probably won't do anything. Yeah, let's do that. Let's get rid of that one. Alright, yep. Don't know what they had, but I guess it was either a counterspell and they didn't want to put it here, or... Well, I'm on the play, so there is some kind of universe in which I get to do cool stuff. I would not be able to keep this on the draw. I'm gonna fight over that? I'd like to see an overreaction. Nice. That definitely worked out. They didn't cast their commander. That's hilarious. So, fetch land. It is extremely likely that I spend all my mana, so I'm not gonna do that. They did not cast their commander. Let it be known. I could... yeah, we're gonna Davriel immediately, because if they have a combat trick that isn't a 1/1 counter, they can then not successfully... My life total doesn't matter, I die in one hit. They cannot then... Oh, what I could do is double minus. Maybe keep having the Llanowar Elves alive is still just fine. 4... What if I just minused... Yeah, alright, we're just gonna do the other minus. Killing Llanowar Elves is just weird. The plus is weird. We could do the life gain one. Kind of weird, but whatever. Leaving up removal here is not doing anything. I don't have a counterspell, so... Could have left up Memory Deluge at options. Opponent's acting as if they're going to do something there. No, you are not. I can plus to do kind of nothing, so I'll just do this. So now I just pass. And then my opponent has to leave up a protection spell and also have 500 land ramp spells through all the other stupid stuff they've done so far. Correct. Oh, this is play versus draw. Unbelievable. No land, that is actually insane. Wow. 2 lands with Ragavan? Oh, alright. I guess it makes sense. How do you not swing at me? I'm confused. How do you not... What? Okay. What are we playing around here? I don't know. Hopefully they don't have a land, because I'll put that back on top. That is significant. And then I can take a turn off, because I know exactly what they're going to do. So I can just cast those. If I didn't know what they were going to do, I would not cast those. Opponent apparently has some kind of castable card in this spot. What? It's not Flare. What's castable here? I am so confused. I don't know. Chord of Calling? Nope. Alright, well, that probably just lets me win. Yep. That lets me win. The space set? What are you talking about? What are we talking about? Oh, let's get a swamp. There is no world in which I stifle that. Opponent appears to have some kind of burn spell. Don't really know what else it could possibly be. Ideally, it's not Lightning Bolt. That's just a thing? Okay, that's a thing. You can play that card. That's a thing you can do. Cool. What is it? Wait, what's the plus on it? Alright. Wasn't expecting that. I don't know if I would have done that, but that's what they did. Stifle can stop Clive, but I really don't think that I'm concerned with the idea of doing that, so... They get a free block. Actually, I can make it so they cannot get a free block. I guess I'll do that. Yeah. Let's not trip up on that. Let's do this. Discard Polluted Delta? Does her life total matter? Kind of, but also not really. I'm just gonna get rid of the Islander. Alright, Psychic Frog. Yep. But you see a lot of end-step fetches. Assuming my opponent, you know, plays a fetch and whatnot. Alright, there's the Scolding. Excellent. I'm going to gamble and assume that I don't need one of these. That's what I'm going to do. Okay. Currently, I am not winning. Arcane Infusion. What? Just a cantrip? Oh. Cantrip for a 6-drop. Excellent. There's no way on earth they cast Vivi here. It just wouldn't make any sense. I don't think anyone ever would cast Vivi there. Them playing Magic on my end step is why I lose this game, for sure, if that's what they consistently do. No fetch land. Also, no Mox. Notable. Opponent got rid of Stone Rain. I don't really know what Stone Rain is. Oh, well, if you play Mox all day, it makes sense. Alright, I'm going to assume that this is safe, and then my opponent will have to now respect my 1 blue mana. It could be Wash Away. That's really about it, though. Wonder if they have Tails on, maybe? I highly doubt there's a Stifle in there. Do we respect Wash Away? I don't think I would. I don't think I would. Okay, it looks like they either do or are just not interested in casting VV. Both are valid. Both are valid. Commander doesn't do much against this deck. I mean, there are fetch lands, I guess. They're looking at my swamp. They're checking out my swamp. What you looking at my swamp for? Ancient Tomb. What does that do? It lets me cast my commander easier and still leave up stuff. Sure. Have I played Ancient Tomb yet today? I don't think I have. Scalding works? What? Oh, this is why you play it. So I'm gonna send it. Probably should have tapped the midnight clock for that, honestly. Oh, wait. It's power or toughness. Oh, yeah, you're right. I had grossly miscalculated that. Stern Scolding is actually viable. That goes to show how much I haven't played it. Okay, I like it more than I did 2 seconds ago as a card. I do like it more than I did. I will admit that. Yep, that's no surprise. Of course, you have a wizard in play. Excellent. This dies to Fatal Push. I should probably still cast Cut Down, because VV could just, like, randomly outpace the Cut Down if I had sent it. So, cast this. There are things in the... Yep, there's reasons to swing all out. Oh, there's no reason not to swing all out. I don't want Rouse the Wreck. I'm not going to kill it in response or pre-combat or something. I would not take it. This is interesting. I can't change the rest of it, but the top part is actually just fine. I'll do that. Alright. Stern Scolding's actually on the table. Complained about the beginning. Complained about a card I didn't read, of course. Thought it was just toughness. So 2 giant walls of permission and a serious amount of pressure on the face. I do not at all care about this card. In fact, it looks like it might have to block. No anything pre-combat, just combat. Just combat. I would imagine they want to block the 4/4 here. If they didn't block, they would probably die. I feel like I'm asking for trouble if I pre-combat removal spell that. They have not cast another spell, and wow, shoot, I was asking for some serious trouble. Look at that, I was right. So they did block that, which means my commander loses all abilities. Alright, now I want this to die, so I will just do this now. My commander as a 1/1 has text on it that matters, just in terms of damage. Like, that's still just pressuring my opponent. They're at 5. My spells deal damage and whatnot, so cannot afford to do nothing, so Desperation VV. Wow, really? Just stone cold nothing? That seems wild to me. I'm gonna surveil here. Having nothing here is really crazy. How do you... What could they have? I don't even know. We'll find out. We'll find out real soon. Cavern. Don't need it. My opponent's not going to be fighting over my commander at random bouts in this game, so... They can't take this damage. They have to do something. Snapcaster. Alright. Do I win? I win. Alright, nice. Cool. What was Snapcaster going to do? Flame of Ilnor? Yep, they had all, like, the grindy 3-drop cards. Alright, I'm on the play, but I'm against this. This is a really, really not ideal matchup, I'll be honest with you. I mean, to be fair, it is just effectively mono green, but, you know. It's got that blue splash that's a headache to deal with. There's not much in the red department that I'm, like, horrendously terrified of, though. Top decking a black source for an early Liliana would be nice. I'm gonna just tempo, because that's just what I should do, be min efficient and stuff. Okay, I actually did draw it. That's crazy. Get rid of one of these, probably the one that's not castable for 600 years, especially if I end up discarding any kind of land. Which ideally I would not do, but we'll see. My commander is just, like, completely out of play in this matchup. Completely and utterly out of play. Well, if I ever smack them with my commander, we are certainly happy. They are getting kind of... Oh, wow, we did it. We just cast an honest Liliana of the Veil. We just had an honest Liliana of the Veil, and they just were over it. Well, I always say you can't do anything for 2 turns, but against this, with a hand like this on the play, I'm going to risk it. Because the payoff is kind of significant. It's kind of there. Okay, well, I can't not play lands. That would be weird. Burgeoning does have the ability to solo me. Like, just on its own. Can this do anything without kick? Let's not X. Okay, yeah. We can just simply cycle this for whatever, because, I mean, meta-wise, it just makes sense to do that. Okay. Yep. They have played 2 mana sources a turn, starting turn 1. And I have not. I am significantly behind. I don't feel like Extinction Event is catching me back up. Alright, make it 3 lands a turn. Memory Lapse. I would like the Jace, but I probably have to take this. What if I did just take the Jace and said screw everything? Yeah, I'm in the mood to do that. Buzz Patrol. Goat with the sub. Look at you go. 11 months. You're almost an annual enjoyer. They're out of lands, but I mean, they still look how much mana they have. So Liliana not doing too much. Actually, all of this isn't doing anything. Could just take the land and the... Ugh, yeah, whatever. It's fine. Alright, so hopefully they play Tanic, no land in hand, and then they just double odd or something weird. Alright, that's not what happens. They still technically double odd. I assume they're going to play Ashaya? Oh, we did take the Jace, too. I did take the Jace. Is the greed real? I think the greed is real. We're gonna Jace plus. That is a spell I would love my opponent to cast. I would love my opponent to cast that card. I don't think they're going to, but it would be great if they did. I won't lie to you. Okay, so if they do play it untapped, and they go into 5, life is good. Okay, this is actually amazing. Everything we've ever wanted. Unless it isn't. So... this... what does this let me do? Lets me do this. Odd. Alright, that is colossal. And then we can do that, because the Ancient Tomb. And we're going to just keep plussing, because I said so. You can keep that. Alright, this is as good as I could possibly ask for as a scenario. However, my opponent is at, like, Primeval Titan mana. I'd rather my opponent just draw lands than a random good card here, because I can cast basically everything in their deck. I will let them draw lands. And there it is. Huh. How long was that in their hand? That confuses me. They also did not play this as a land. Rather surprising. Huh. Rather surprising. So let's bounce the... that thing. And then bounce the other thing? Correct. There, get in there. Huge, potentially. There's no land in hand still, you know. Alright, no counter spell. I don't care about Tanic regardless. If I ever smack him with my commander, we just, like, basically win on the spot. If I ever get that window. Oh, or they can just top deck Primeval Titan. That works too. Yep, why not? Why not? It's the only thing that makes sense. They got Cavern, which they already had a card that stopped me from countering it anyways. Alright, well, This basically has to happen. I'm gonna definitely plus here first. I don't want that. That's good. That's good. Ooh, excuse me. I would rather just brainstorm. I think. Yeah. Let's get rid of Damnation and Random Land. Put that there. Cast. Or play a fetch land. Minus... Wait, you have a land now? How do you have a land? That doesn't make any sense. I don't think my opponent should have a land there. That's weird. Okay, and draw. Alright, so now I feel way less bad about cracking the fetch land before I lose the Damnation. Tanic itself isn't too scary if they simply just cast it, which, I mean, it's the only uncounterable thing, so I suppose it would make sense to start with that. Okay, they have a land. They have a fetch land as well. I can double bounce and then smack my opponent with Zareth, which seems like a really good idea. Alright, we're beating the mono green thing somehow. Or I'm significantly ahead. Like, significantly ahead. But I think we have it. I'm not sure what they could do at this point, but we'll see. I mean, I'm acting like the game is over. It's obviously not over. Let's bounce you. And there's no way I let them untap. Yeah, no, oh, no, oh, shoot! Oh, alright. Sometimes you make mistakes. Sometimes you just make mistakes. Alright. I have, in fact, gotten bailed out. I shouldn't have played my land first. Okay, they didn't do the thing anyways. Yeah, we're gonna do this now. Shouldn't have played my land first, though. Oh, it actually doesn't matter. It actually just doesn't matter. Yeah, it just doesn't matter. We have Lightning Bolt? Where's it going? Oh, okay. Well, I guess I didn't activate it, but I could have done that earlier. I could also have pitched cards to this Psychic Frog at some point in this game and probably killed my opponent. Alright. We did it. Yep, like I said, the moment I hit my opponent with my commander, we win the game. Alright, Kodos could be an exception to the it's basically a mono-green strategy argument, because it does really enjoy its own existence, unlike a lot of the other commanders. There's nothing to do on turn 1 with Dark Ritual. Actually, my commander in this matchup just doesn't really do that much in general. But it can. But for the most part, I'm going to say it really doesn't. Oh, Psychic Frog was the next card. Ugh. We will take Reanimate. There are lines where that is extremely useful. There are lines where that works out fine, just fine. Bloom Tender. Let us tempo our opponent. Because next turn is stock up. I really think I should take all the lands. I'm not gonna lie to you. That's how I lose, so. I wonder if they cast their commander next turn. Do we think that's what they do? Oh, we hit a land too. Tragic. Would have ideally not hit more lands there. Yep, they do just straight up send it. Okay. They could have played untapped land, and then this would have tapped for, like, way more. So I can cast my commander, and I will. And then I can Toxic Spaghetti, and I will. 1. And then I can maybe do something with the cards I steal. I don't really know what that is, but, like, I can just take this, I guess. Not very exciting, but I did it. Is this my opponent not blocking with it? Is that what this is? This is my opponent not blocking with that, so yeah, I'm gonna swing. I mean, you wouldn't do all of that and then block with it. That would be kind of weird. I'll just take the land. I am totally fine with that. Let's cut down. There's an argument to be made that I should have done that the first time. Let's just take the land. Because of a Surveil land in my deck, so. And they obviously can't kill it. Sure. Alright, we did it. Yep. The green opponent was dependent on the green ramp spell, and we had it covered. I'd say I knew it, but I knew it. Ah, yes, the glorious play versus draw. Do we lose to the 1 into 3? We haven't had it happen yet. I don't think we've had a 1 into 3 auto loss. Alright, I'm going to counter anything, because I'm falling behind egregiously. They did not technically have a 1 into 3. It is 2 mana sources a turn, though. Close enough, right? Who's really paying attention? Surely not me. They don't care about Damnation, which is the big issue we're having here. I think I'll just Hellsmeld this. Wait, what? Okay, sure. Castle Spaghetti Vein. It is a land, but I already have 2 lands, and it is very unlikely I'll ever have time to, like, tap this and draw off it. Man, they quickly bin that sword. They didn't even think... Oh, no, they didn't have a choice. Never mind, that was not a Surveil land. Resets on Sunday? Oh. Wait, what? Oh, shoot, alright. Also, someone's calling me. I might have to BRB. Oh, yes. The totally not mono green card. Excellent. Just mill the non-green cards and play the green ones. Just how you drew it up, literally. Alright, opponent, just let me know when it's my turn, that's fine. Oh, they also have an answer for my card, too? Excellent. Okay, well. I can't Hellsmeld that. I mean, I can, but why? Target opponent puts a creature for your choice or graveyard. So Tasha's -2 is useless. I mean, really nothing matters. I'm just gonna cast that. But I don't think anything here really matters. Did they put both Foreign Collects lands into play? How did they do the... How did my opponent put both the forests that this got into play? How did they just do that? What? What did I not notice that just happened? I'm very confused. Maybe they just didn't get 2 forests? That's the only answer. It's literally the only thing that would make sense there. Okay. Well, again, I can't exactly let them untap with anything at all, so I'll just take that. But I'm dead to the first instance of them having anything. Yeah, we're gonna just play that. Alright, so if they go one more turn... Actually, that's ridiculous. That seems like the most incorrect thing to do. I'm gonna play this, because that seems like the correct thing to do. Alright, it didn't pan out. Okay, hold on. 20. Sure. I think my opponent is actually out of forests. Witch Enchanter. Okay. That's an enchant. Oh, right, because of the house meld. Like, how did they do that? Okay. They just didn't do the thing? Am I not understanding something? Let's take you. I guess they were just, like, respecting my ability to do something? Sure. Okay. Yep, I'm not going to do anything. I don't care about Narset. They're not even the type of deck to care about it themselves. Disciple of Danger Noodles. Alright, let's draw 2. Let's put that on top. And then let's be mana efficient. Extinction Event gives me... Uh-oh, Spaghetti-O. Protection. You learned a long time ago the reserve list is a lie? What? Alright, let's see. What do we want to win with? What does this even do? I don't care. Alright, all of this is kind of lame, actually. I guess I'll get that. Alright, yeah. Just like all the other green players, if I hit them the first time with my commander, they're just done. Well, it's safe to assume that that card will get Cavern of Souls, but fortunately Clive as a resolved threat is not the worst thing to have happen. And it would also be Cavern on Human from Mono Red, which is not really the best use of Cavern. But it's still... I mean, if you're going to cast Cavern, I mean, why wouldn't you just do that, right? That's just a Dragon Rage channeler. That is really weird. Okay. It's also a human. That was very strange. Let's play this. So we have Counterspell. The old OG cancel, sort of. Not really. This probably should get Ancient Tomb. I'm not going to lie. But I guarantee you they're going to get Cavern. I think there's like a huge argument that Ancient Tomb is right. Oh, wow. Looks like everything ever was just wrong. Looks like every line in my head was wrong. Alright, Davriel. Do literally anything that's remotely relevant. Like, anything ever. That's fine. And then, that's fine. Alright, so we got the discount. We'll take the discount. I can't believe the Manor Gargoyle is part of the options here. It's like, who like, made the list of deals? How is the Manor Gargoyle the same as a permanent jet medallion? Like, what? Devotion is still 0. I like the strategy that's going on here. I am going to agree Davriel, because I expect this game to last long enough for that to matter. I could have went for my commander. I don't think that would be right, though. Need a land, found a land. I can put these back. Yep. And then like that. And then like this. And I don't even know if I'm supposed to plus this. Oh, jeez. Alright, I'm gonna plus it. I'm doing it. Not gonna lie to you, though. This land is valuable. But apparently I deemed Liliana Plus more valuable. Also, when your opponent sees 3 Planeswalkers, they get kind of sad. They had Blood Moon in hand, that's funny. Kind of weird with Expedition Map Nykthos, but you don't have both every game. Oh, they're looking at the Guardian Idol, see if it kills any of these. It does not. Could have a burn spell, though. I have no idea which one's the right one. Looks like that one is. I wonder if this is worth it. It must be. Got nothing else going on, right? Yeah. Just cards you're pitching anyways. Fair enough. Alright, I don't feel like House Meld matters. With 3 Planeswalkers, neither does Palantir. So, let's do that instead. We're going to Davriel deal. I don't care about Guardian. If my opponent's turn is Guardian Idol, we win. If like their turn is just doing that, the game is over. It's just over if that's their whole turn. I don't have to worry about it. I could plus on their top deck. Yeah, we can plus the Jace that undoes the Guardian. But the Brainstorm is valuable too. Both of these are reasonable, but let's just plus it. Forces... I mean, I really don't know. I don't know. I don't think anything matters at this point. It would be a Christmas miracle for them to get out of this. That Christmas miracle does not involve... Alright, so we just win then. Yeah, the game's just over now. Look at that. Not even my opponents. Literally, not even my opponents get to, no, you gotta kill a Planeswalker. No, you gotta kill a Planeswalker. You gotta kill a Planeswalker. Nobody gets to do this. Not even my opponents. Yeah, you gotta do that. You can't afford to, like, not do that. Alright, we win. They do not get the stuff. Look at it. Look at it get exiled again. Look at it get exiled. They had to kill Jace so I couldn't bounce it. They just had to do that. There are no more mountains in my opponent's deck, by the way. Oh wow, they swept the board. Okay, the game is technically still happening. The game is still happening. I'm gonna plus Davriel. And then I'm gonna split their lands. And again, there's no more mountains in their deck, so not likely to hit lands. Pile, pile, pile. And that's it. Their devotion is 2, and this costs 4 to cast. So I actually will bounce this right now, because they cannot recast it without losing the treasure token. So, okay, that's exactly what happened. That's exactly what we wanted to happen. Have happen. All right, Davriel, what do you got for me this time? I guess I'll take that thing. Take that. And I'm not gonna look for a land with this Archmage's Charm. It would be so cool to see my opponent come out of what just happened to them this game so far. But I've seen crazier. Sure, Davriel is not gonna make it unless I draw something very specific. I did not draw something specific. I could have... No, I couldn't have done that. Alright. Davriel's down. They did it. They cleared all the Planeswalkers. They actually did it. Look at them. Look at them go. Oh, and then they have Wintermoon. Alright. So this... And then here. So do... Those two? Already play a land, so play you. Okay. I guess I could have taken Reanimate and just killed them with Twin Flame, but my commander will just start to win the game unless they seriously draw hot to get out of that, which is not very likely whatsoever. Actually, I don't even know if my Zareth is big enough to swing past that. I don't know, is it? I don't know what Davriel's done to me. It's hard to keep track of them all. Alright, well, it's very likely that it's enough. And you know what probably is also enough? Is just doing this. I'm just gonna do that. I feel like that's also just enough to make my opponent just be over it. Okay, strip. Well, you don't want to crack the strip. I don't know. Yeah, you kind of need the strip because they don't have any mountains to draw. So it's like every land is like really valuable. Okay. So now we just pass. To be fair, it's not like I have committed the death to opponent situation very quickly. They do need the red, so this didn't necessarily reset them. They need the red source to get this and then that, so they don't have that currently. We're also at like a lot of life. Okay, so now we bop them, and then we just win with whatever we want. We could take... Oh, it's in their hand. Alright, let's just take that one, because it's funny. I mean, at this point, I'm just playing with my food, but still. With the intent to flip the midnight clock, I guess it doesn't really matter. I could have taken this. It doesn't matter. I want the mana. The clock is actually about the same. This isn't triple, it's double, right? It's like 12 and 12, as opposed to 6, 12, and... It's actually, I think, the same. So getting the treasure tokens first could just matter. Like, mathematically speaking. Yeah, that idol. This is the best idol I've ever seen. Look at it go. I mean, if I were my opponent, I would have sent the snooze emote and conceded after the Liliana -6. As is tradition. Oh, gamble. You can't find a mountain. But they can find, I don't know. What else is a red source? A mana rock? Half their deck exists. Godo is on the other side of the universe. It's not happening. I think they no, they can't cast it, though. Yeah, they can't find interaction anymore. I don't know. I have no idea what you find here. Ah, can we blow up this mountain and get the true colorless victory? Is it possible? Technically? Okay, they'd have to sack Strip Mine, and then I can reanimate it. But the game would be over if that happened. They'd be down 2 lands and be GG's there. Alright, so I'm sure it's a mana rock. I don't know what on earth else it could be here. Oh, wow. They did find interaction. They sought out interaction. That seems very strange, doesn't it? Shouldn't you just not do that? Right? Shouldn't my opponent get, like, mana? Because I can recast this. It doesn't really do much. I don't know. I feel like the Fury just isn't the right call. You have to get some kind of mana rock to just slowly crawl back in. Because you're currently just not doing that. Crawling back in, I mean. Alright, I mean, maybe it's just my opponent's just going through the lines to practice and see where the game goes from there and whatnot. Like, maybe they just accept they're not going to win, but they just want to see what they can do with the limited resources or something. Which is fair. I'm going to flip the clock on my turn like a greedy enjoyer. I'm just going to flip it now. None of this matters, so... yeah, we'll get the Tyrant because it's funny. Honestly, getting a mountain would be totally reasonable as well. I'm going to crack the treasure token while it adds 2. Alright, we gain, I think, 14 life? It could be 28 life. I don't know. I don't know what Davriel's got going on over here. I think it's just 14. Yeah, it's just 14. Alright. Well, I don't think I'm gonna die now. Even if I drew 7 lands there. I don't think we were losing that through damage or anything. They're also now dead. Yeah, now they're dead, right? What, 5? 10, 11, 12. Yeah, they're just dead now to the double damage here. Alright, well, maybe we just win with turn 1 strike. Maybe that's the thing. Is this the person that played the other one? It might actually be. We'll see. Alright, direct. I should leave myself with the opportunity to shield Druids, but that feels like a profoundly bad idea to, like, commit that for any real... yeah, it just seems like a really not good idea to commit that. I'm not going to do it. Alright, my opponent would also just need to do the thing. I will turn to Grief. Oh, maybe I should turn to Rusco. Yeah, turn 2 Rusco feels better, because it's like permanent mana in play, and technically a 3/3. Yeah, this is just slightly better. I don't really want to grief my opponent's turn 2 play. Codis is... oh, this is Gonti. Oh my goodness, it's Gonti. We were playing around... we were playing into a completely different commander. I'm an idiot. Saw Sultai. Thought nothing else mattered. Alright. Alright. Still feel completely fine about my play, but still. That's funny. It's still the same exact deck. no, that's not true. That's not true. It's not exactly the same. They are very different. More or less. I mean, they do sort of play your opponent's cards, technically, so I guess they got that going. But one of them is an indestructible 2/1, and the other is a, that. I mean, you have, like, Fatal Push or something? Should I leave up Mana Drain? I mean, most people would say, obviously. But, do I? I really would like to just cast this Grief. I'm gonna cast the Grief. It's not like Mana Drain's going anywhere. Let's do this on Swamp. Alright, this is another reason why I played Rusko, was so I could do this. Alright, they cling my... something. Alright. House Meld. Well, no. You can have the One Ring. I am ahead significantly. I don't think the One Ring is helping you. Did they not play a land last turn, but cast House Meld? I mean, Cling? That seems counterintuitive? Maybe I'm just tripping. Yeah, I think I'm just tripping. Alright. I'm just tripping. So, as it stands, my Mana Drain is winning. Reanimate Rusko. Not gonna lie to you, didn't expect that. What if I just let that happen? Nah, let's not let that happen. Actually, we should, because I can Cyclonic Rift it. Yeah, this is okay. I don't really care about the clock. And this still leaves me open to... Oh, wow, alright. So let's bounce that. And then Edict the Shaman. Stop having things. Get out of here. Get out of here. Not allowed. Alright, I'm still fortunately winning by, well, pretty significant margin. They're going down to 9. Are there any creatures to eat? Nope. Deathrite Shaman only gains life on creatures. Yeah, they're going down to 9. They're going down to 7? Oh no, they're going to use this to do what now? Okay. Wait a minute, this doesn't stop the 3 damage. They can no longer play the One Ring. It's just not an option anymore. Let's do this? Wait, I have to actually read these. Yeah, let's do this. Or this. No, this. Alright. Can they cast Uro? Yep. And one would argue they kind of have to. So... Edict... No, they're not going to take the Edict. I guess I'll just hide my hand. Oh, wait a minute. Can I do that? No. Well, so far, nothing has happened that would care about Gonti. It's just Sultai, best cards in the game pile. Okay, does that do anything? It would be a bit of a Christmas miracle, but it is possible. We've lost crazier games in this. I don't have to counter the One Ring, and I don't think I'm going to. Okay, now I can, because they can't do anything else. Yeah, now they just can't do anything else, so. Oh, wait, what? Why are we going this line here? Does this all make sense? Why does this... What? Okay. Why am I concerned about any of this? I feel like I'm not, right? Yeah, we're definitely not concerned about this stuff. Alright, land... Yeah, alright. There's just over. I mean, the Rusco, they're at 4. I can just kill them? So which one of these is the one I get rid of? I think I get rid of Tail's End here. Although this can double stifle. So maybe I get rid of this. I think that's slightly better. Yeah. Is this the same person earlier? It might be the same person we played earlier. Could be wrong. I think it is, though. Like the weird endurance Tannic enjoyer. Actually, did I? I might have cast Psychic Frog against that person. If it's Once Upon a Time, they need to wait. Oh. Okay, sure. Uki? Rafellos, that's exciting. That's insane to you? It is? Not to me. Not to me. It either goes right up to bracket 5, or is just another one of the 25 really good blue commanders, and then, you know, it's just up there with, like, the other ones. I don't know, is that problematic, though? Oh boy, green, 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 green. Oh, they got a mountain. Hold on, that's not a forest. What are you doing? What are you doing? You're not. What are you? Wow. All right, I'll take it. Wow, did not expect that. Is that like? All right. Is that ever right? I don't know what their hand is, but like, I'm hard convinced to ever do that. Yeah, Rafellos is banned in normal Commander, but that's a different format. Can't assess that for this one. Okay, well, it's a good thing. You know what? It's a really good thing I didn't stifle that. I'm not gonna lie to you. Because I just wasn't looking and clicked OK. It's a good thing I didn't stifle. That is really funny. Because now I'll stifle that instead. Works out, I guess. Oh, or they just simply don't. Wait, what? What's the point of casting it if you're just going to get rid of it? I don't understand. I should probably just not lose to that. If they just have infinite lands. If their last card is a land, we're just... Yeah, alright, so that worked out. I don't know if they're in chump block territory, but I will gladly just give them the chump block, because that's just... I mean, whether I draw a card or my opponent goes up a card. I mean, I go up a card in hand, it's kind of effectively the same, so it's fine. looks like I stifled a land anyways. Look at me get there. It worked out too, because now they can't now they can't play it and then also do other stuff. Well, that's kind of lame. Okay, 3 fetch lands in a row with my opponent's draws. Just 3 fetch lands, and it's in a juncture in which their commander is in play now. Kinda nuts, but fortunately, simple top decks. It takes quite the runner of cards, because not any one card per se is particularly threatening. No Watery Grave. Yeah, actually, I'm gonna get Watery Grave. Fetch land, fetch land, fetch land, Mythweaver Pock. Alright. Nice. So, we definitely want to hit our opponent with this frog. Actually, yeah, Mythweaver Pock was really good because it stops my commander from hitting them. Okay, well, I stand corrected. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Cyclonic Rift. Let's take the Murderous Rider and Wash Away. And I have no respect for further top decks. I'm just going to kill this. I'm just not going to respect my opponent to draw some crazy out off the top. There's no respect for it. Alright. Average outcome achieved. And again, just like the other 15 times, once I hit my opponent with Zareth and my opponent is a green deck, they immediately concede if they haven't conceded already. To be fair, if it was just a 4-4 at this point, I don't think they could do anything anyways, but still. It's just funny. Let's make it interesting. Make it interesting. Give them it. Make it interesting. I'm doing it. I'm doing it. We're doing it. I know countering it was right, but I don't care. I want to be wrong. So, swing all out. The way they're doing this now makes me think they're always getting rid of the Explorer, and they just want to mill first, for whatever reason. Yep. Oh, hey, it's Avriel. Nice. It actually kills it because it blocked with it, too. It's funny. I know I should have countered it. But this is what I did. I was actually really curious what their 4 was. Suppose that is maybe the best out, like just the best thing to get there. They didn't think about it too long, so. And again, any one single top deck, I'm curious to, like, it could ever actually get them out of it. When the land enters, you may draw just. Okay, I don't care about that. Oh, look at that. Grove of the Burn Willows. Beautiful. I think the From the Vault one is like one of my favorite. I think it's From the Vault. Is like my favorite land of all time. Is the From the Vault lands Grove of the Burnville Willows. It looks so gorgeous, and the foiling is like that super vertical shininess thing to it. So yeah, I mean, I could have, if I countered the spell, my opponent would have conceded on the spot. But I just really wanted to see what they could have done in this spot in top deck mode. Do you think I should do the state? Should I do the state of historic Brawl video? Should I do one for YouTube? I've never done one before, but I feel like my intros and outros explain enough about the fundamentals of the format that you can just piece together the past. Like, you could take random snippets from the most recent 10 uploads I do and just like have the state of historic Brawl splattered in there, because my outros talk about the state of the format anyways. Same with the intro, right? A lot of my card decisions kind of have to take the state of the format into consideration when I make the deck. So, kind of already doing that. Anyways, alright, so this was okay. When you hit your opponent, notably, when you hit a green player, you sort of just win, because by the time you hit your opponent, who is a green player, there's probably something in the graveyard they don't want you to reanimate. Primeval Titan, something close to Primeval Titan, or one of the 55 other things that are slightly less as good as Primeval Titan but do the same thing. So you just steal some big green thing and win the game because of the value and whatnot. So yeah, if your opponent's getting hit by this, they're losing the game. It's like super ultra Ragavan on steroids that's in blue and black instead of red. But you have to hit your opponent. This costs 5 mana. You can play Mana Rocks. That does mean you have significantly less tools at your disposal to interact with your opponent early. If your turn 2 play is Arcane Signet, and you don't have like a cut down for the Llanowar Elves, or, you know, some idea like that, then this looks... It just, like, the Mana Rocks just look weird then. I just don't like Mana Rocks in decks like this. It seems as though the hyper greedy control decks that are only really good against other control things, which you know, as I'm sure you've come to realize if you play this format, there's not a lot of greedy control decks looming around there. It just doesn't seem like a lot of those kinds of decks are even running Mana Rocks. They do sometimes, but aside from Mana Drain, I'm not seeing a lot of ramp spells out of the like blue greedy control decks that much. So I don't know if I was ahead of the curve on that, or it's just happenstance and coincidence and small sample size. Although I don't know how small it is anymore. I played too much of this. I was wrong about Stern Scolding. I thought it was just toughness. And I've thought that way for basically since the card came out. I'm not going to lie to you. If I remembered at some point that it was also power, I forgot. I had been reminded today that it's also power. This card is probably just better than like Spell Pierce when it comes to creatures, right? Actually, I would say most assuredly is better than Spell Pierce. Not Spell Pierce, Spell Snare. It's like the Spell Snare of creatures. You know, it's only creatures. This is definitely better than Spell Snare when it comes to creatures. Spell Snare can also hit creatures. I don't know if I like this. You could still play something like Dismember. Dismember is a mythic, so good luck with that. But you could play something like that instead. I don't know if I like this card still. I don't know. It's way better than I thought it was, but it's still kind of weird. You just don't need this card. It usually has text throughout the entire course of the game. So if that's something you're interested in, then there you go. But if you top deck it later, it feels really bad that it's not simply some other kind of counter spell, even if it's like a soft counter. Honestly, maybe just putting Censor in this spot would feel slightly better, but it's up to the individual. This gets better the higher up in brackets you are, but because green is just a thing, I don't even know if that matters, because actually, you know what? Half of the green openers now don't actually use a creature. It's like Utopia Sprawl and Burgeoning are not creatures for Stern Scolding, and those are, if they're your opponent's turn one play, is just like really bad. I think today was the first day I got hard soloed by a Burgeoning. I had not been soloed by it on its own. I've seen a couple today, and there was like one real one, at least on stream. I've probably lost to it off stream a bunch, but I'm not like fully paying attention when I'm playing and not streaming. But today I did get completely soloed by that. I think there's a problem with that. Utopia Sprawl and all the other ones don't feel as bad. I mean, they still do. Let's be real. They still do. But Burgeoning, when it puts like 2, then 3, then 4 lands in play, or honestly, even if it stops at 3, it makes land tax look like it doesn't have text on it, right? You would just always play Burgeoning over land tax, no matter what the deck is. I don't think there's any conceivable way in which I would ever choose land tax over Burgeoning, assuming you can play Burgeoning in your green deck or whatever. So it's just like an absolutely insane card, and I had really noticed it playing a deck like this. Your draw-go plan doesn't really work too well if your opponent gets to play a land on everyone's turn. It just doesn't really get to work. You can do the thing, like play a land, and then pass back, and your opponent does the same thing and passes back, which most likely they won't do that, but let's say they did. In a draw-go game, and your opponent has Burgeoning, in some sort of Bant control list, let's say, you probably immediately lost the game because they just play too many lands and it's over. You can try to I don't even know. I don't know. I don't know what you can do about it. You just have to take the L and move on. Psychic Frog is still probably one of the best, if not the best, blue-black creature in the game. If you could put it in your command zone, you would, and this commander is no exception to that. You would just boop, put that right there. There are times where this is just better than Eureka. Some would argue it is just better than Eureka, but it's not a legendary, so you can't do that, but there is certainly a debate to be had there. Rusko was alright. I did actually like Grief. This card usually impresses me every time I do run it. Subtlety, I don't think I own Subtlety, but you could put that in here. Commandeer was in here, didn't like it. The 5-minute Jace probably shouldn't have been in here. Again, the 5-minute play is usually just to windmill slam this, and your whole deck is a wall of spooky instant speed stuff to, complement the random 4/4 you got in here. There are some matchups where this doesn't do anything at all. I'll say maybe that's not the most common, though. Like, yeah, when your opponent doesn't have an army of creatures and whatnot, there's usually a fetch land that you can repeatedly get, and you're not really upset with that. You would wish it was something more, but you're not the most upset if it's just getting a fetch land, in my opinion. I mean, I'm not really using the mana for anything too crazy, but if I'm just drowning my opponent in card advantage, then I think that's just okay. But yeah, there's some matchups where that's all it's really going to do. If it's like up against Brawl, then it doesn't really have any text, because you're just never going to resolve it, and even if you do, you probably have nothing at all to target. It's all instants and sorceries and whatnot, so like it might actually Stone Cold do nothing except hit your opponent for 4. And then you just play without a commander. So any game where you just were effectively playing without a commander, you're going to bank so heavily on one of these planeswalkers to just win the game. It doesn't have to win with an ultimate, but just win the game with its value engines of brainstorming and fate sealing and unsummoned spamming and drawing 2 cards a turn and Davriel giving you either the divorce papers or the $1 million lottery ticket. It completely depends on Davriel's mood. We're just along for the ride when it comes to Davriel. You're kind of just at the mercy of your hand being good enough without a commander if this is bad. And there's quite a few matchups where that is the case. It's sort of similar to Y'shtola in that way. I still think it's better than Y'shtola, because if your opponent didn't do anything for a turn cycle and you didn't have to cast interaction, you can be like, alright, 5 mana, boom. Just send it, because it has flash. If it didn't have flash, that would not be the case at all. But you can decide to do it as a thing to do because nothing else mattered. And sometimes when you do that, the window is also clear for you to actually smack your opponent. And they also don't counter it or kill it or whatever. But if your opponent is in a position where they feel like they have to kill this, I think you're in a position you want to be in. So that's actually kind of an ideal scenario. They're just interested in actually killing that. But yeah, any green player, if you smack them, basically the first time you hit anyone with forests in their deck with this, you probably just win. Your opponent is going to be playing 5 or 6 drops starting turn 3 or 4, and you don't have any way to ramp, really, so you're playing this at, turn 5, and you're probably not even going to be able to do that, because you have to interact with your opponent on your turn 5 in some meaningful way. But I guess you could try to find that window where they played Primeval Titan on turn 4, and then you play this, and then you kill the Primeval Titan with a removal spell to clear the way for this. So, there's kind of that 1-2 punch idea. But, again, you have to have that happen. Frogifies get in the way of this. They can block with the 1-1. A little unfortunate, but, it still answers the creature, and then they can't, besage you or naturalize it off, and it's in the graveyard for, this later, or you reanimate or something. So, it's not the worst in the world, but you could run maybe just more spot removal that isn't Frogify effects, if that's something you feel you want to do. The sweepers, again, we kind of have to assess with a green lens. The sweepers aren't that great against, the Pock, Vorinclex, Primeval Titan stuff. It's not even really good against Tireless Provisioner or even Lotus Cobra. The green stuff can very easily survive or have just gotten so much value from the green creatures you swept that they don't really feel it too bad like, an aggro deck would, essentially. So, you could probably shave maybe all of them. Honestly, you could just shave all of them. Keep Toxic Deluge maybe, and also maybe Damnation. But you could probably shave the rest of them or whatever. And just run more one-for-one interaction and then some kind of card advantage spell like the instant speed divination, like Quick Study, some weird stuff. Yeah, the green, it is really all about green. So it's just the most prolific color. It's doing the strongest thing. It is by far the most consistent color on top of everything else. So it's just what you got to assess. Every blue deck should probably just play Changed Equation at this point. No questions asked. If you just have islands in your deck, play this card. Honestly, any of the other green hate cards at this point, full stop, not trying to be dramatic or hyperbolic or anything, I think you can full stop play Flash Freeze. What else? I think there's a couple more that are weird. You could probably play Deathmark. You don't have to. There's enough of this already. You don't have to color restrict your 1-minute removal spell, really. But you could play this card. At this point in this format, you can play this. If I saw someone Deathmark me, I'd be like, yep. You can Flash Freeze people. We're at that point. You can Aether Gust people. We're just at that point. That's just where it is. So if everyone's just going to be green, then you can just play accordingly and just have those tools at your disposal. In matchups where they're bad, hopefully you can just be okay with that. If your deck has a lot of draw and discard, any choice kind of situational things. Seek New Knowledge actually is an excellent card for that. And Faithless Looting, if you had red, to get rid of your Flash Freeze cards in matchups where they're not good. But if it's even 50%, I would say it's more than that. it's just good enough to me to run them. It's not like you even have them every game. It's only, one ofs and whatnot. So even in the green matchup, you're not just guaranteed to have it. And you're also not guaranteed to have it in matchups where your opponent is not green, right? You don't just have flash freeze because your opponent's red or blue or something. So I think you can run that kind of thing. And this deck definitely would have at least liked Aether Gust, for sure. So those cards are something to think about moving forward. Just pay attention to the distribution of colors of your opponents and see what I'm talking about. Maybe I'm blowing smoke out of my booty hole, but I don't think I am. So other than that, this strategy is definitely a little jank just because your card advantage is awkward. Like, if you're casting 1-for-1s over and over, if anything slips through or leaves behind value, and your way to get back in with value is to cast like stock up, that's you spending mana at a time you might not want to, and you might just, like, unless it's just raw damage and you're just taking the damage because you can catch back up with Crux of Fate or Damnation or something, you're just going to start to slip behind tempo-wise, and then the tempo is going to turn into value, and then the value is going to kill you. So it's like, this is not the format where you can play the, alright, that resolves, I'll take 12, kill your board, stabilize. It's not really how this format works out, because taking 12 could essentially come from like one creature, right? Mythweaver Pock, for example. It's like you didn't counter it or kill it, and you're like, alright, I'll just wait for them to play another creature and then like cast Crux of Fate to, kill their board and then catch back up. Well, you're not really going to do that if you've taken like 25, and you're not going to do it if you've taken 18 or, again, 12, and you cast a sweeper, pass right back, your opponent just plays another giant thing, and you were tapped out, can't deal with it. That's just your opponent essentially getting under your counter spells, and you're trying to bank on catching back up with something that isn't really going to let you do that in this format. So just a problem with blue-black control in general, I would say. And that's why the Planeswalker army is just a good route to go, in my opinion. You can defend them pretty well with sweepers, for the most part. Actually, I don't even know if pretty well is accurate, because there's a lot of spot removal in the non-green decks, right? Just because you're green ready doesn't mean the other colors vanish. Suddenly, you just your opponent murders riders your control payoff, like Jace, and you're like, oh, well, I'm screwed. So, yeah. Oh, that's another thing. I did struggle against other control decks, which is a very bad sign. I'm sure there's ways to circumvent that, but for the most part, not really. Like, this seems about where I'd want to be. Maybe you could exchange up to, say, 5 to 7 cards in here before I start to question your authority on the subject. I just didn't feel great going into any control matchups where my opponent was also running counter spells and like some kind of card draw or whatever, and removal. It's like I didn't feel too good in those spots, which is not good, because this is a good control commander, assuming there's something you can reanimate. The fact that it just has flash is very annoying. Right? You just play it on your opponent's end step 3 times, and they have to keep countering it on their turn. And then it goes back to you, and then you play a land and do whatever. Now, that being said, it is not totally unreasonable for someone to counter this over and over. You don't fight back, let's say, and then you don't punish your opponent for being tapped out on their turn. Or on your turn, excuse me. Like, they tapped on their end step. And then it goes back to you, and then like you don't actually have a creature, or like you don't have Mythweaver Pock, let's say, to windmill slam into play. It goes back to your opponent, and they have to interact with that while also leaving up mana for counter spells again. That's just not what this deck can do. Outside of like specifically Psychic Frog, it's just not going to happen. You can play those like annoying flashing threats like the fairy and the brazen borrower and like random stuff like that. The whatever it's called, I don't know what it's called. Yeah, this fairy mastermind, brazen borrower, those weird mono blue tempo ideas, right? Excuse me. There's a few scary black ones. You could go the ninja route, I guess. I don't think I would play Yuriko in here. I didn't even really consider Yuriko as a potential option. I don't really like it. Anything that would make me have to pick this up is like not at all what I want to do. So, but yeah, you could definitely go that route. It would be kind of sketchy though. I feel like this is kind of. I'm not sure this is that kind of deck. I just don't think it is. If you want to go that route, you're probably just playing Yuriko anyways. Let's be real. Look, I just clicked out Roscoe. So yeah, all in all, I did get 15 wins in today. I don't know how many in total. I kept playing after. I don't know how long after, but I did actually do that. Kind of surprises me. I thought this deck would be too slow by the time I was done streaming to get that many wins, but it did. So that's ideal. If you like this kind of thing, it's okay. Is it better than Scarab God? I don't know. They're surprisingly similar. Scarab God is a bit more resilient, but this has flash, and it can just go in there, and once it gets in there, it's kind of scary. But again, they're pretty similar. They're pretty similar. I prefer Scarab God because that was like I think one of the first commanders I had ever played, and I just really liked it. It's like, oh, this value engine is real and stuff, but they don't actually play too nice in each other's decks because one wants to reanimate with its own text box and the other wants to reanimate with its own text box. So they don't really play too well, unfortunately. But yeah, I ended up taking it out. The Scarab God just didn't seem to work out, but I don't know. It's playing all the good blue and black cards, and what more can you ask for, really? So let me know what you thought about it. Like, comment, subscribe, and let me know if you want to hear me complain for 40 minutes about the format. I'll make a video about the state of Historic Brawl, but I feel like, again, my outros are already doing that, but who knows? Maybe it'll be something to think about. Alright, see ya.